Welcome to this quick character guide for Saarvin. Saarvin is a dragonborn ranger of the mighty, so he can do a lot of damage, but generally his defense isn't the highest. Saarvin is one of the more versatile characters. You can play him a plethora of ways, but let's just discuss what his gear does and kind of how to think about it. So moving into his common boots will have a 75% chance to inflict 75 less defense on one random enemy for 2 zones. Really good option. But then again, his rare boots are also a very good option, as you have a 75% chance to gain 50% defense and also have 1 extra turn, which is very good depending on how you play with them. Moving into his epic, this could be okay. I use it mostly just because I have it maxed out, and also to give him the most damage, which combines with some of my other skills I use, but it has a 50% chance to inflict 200% damage to one enemy in 1 zone. Or his legendary, which is the phenomenal option. Once you get to level 4, it'll have a 60% chance for all targets to have 75 less defense within 3 zones for 2 turns. Great options. Moving into his common hoods. His common hood is one of my favorite and is probably the best of this category. He'll perform 3 additional random ranged attacks, so 4 in total, inflicting 125% damage per shot, which is very good. Moving into his rare hood is also good. Once you get it to level 10, it'll have 100% attacking 1 zone out of 3 zones, so very versatile. If you have enemies within 2 zones and you want to push them away because maybe they can do a lot of damage and this will stall for 1 turn, the Epic Hood's a great option. Or if you're farming, generally this will be your best bet. Once you get to level 3, all enemies in 2 zones, you can attack everybody. This is technically misleading, as this will attack all enemies within 3 zones. Moving into his necklaces, or his quivers in this case, if you need extra attack boost, you can use his common, which all heroes in 2 zones will have a 50% increase in attack for 2 turns. My personal favorite of this category would be his rare quiver, which 1 enemy in 3 zones will have 50% less defense, and Sarvan will also gain 1 extra action in this turn, so you can reduce their defense and also attack, which is very strong. I generally do not recommend using counterattack, but it is still a good skill, especially at lower levels. If people are attacking Sarvan a lot more than other teams, so generally not what I recommend, but it's an okay ability. Or if you're farming lower enemies, his Dragon Quiver Hide is a good option, as it can attack multiple enemies, but only 1 enemy at a time. Moving into weapons, we have a whole bunch of good weapons. So starting out with this common axes, this has a 50% chance to perform 3 additional random range attacks on 3 random enemies. So this can attack the same enemy a couple of times. Combining this with his rare bracers later, this could have a possible maximum attack of 6 to 8 times, depending on where you have it. So this could do a maximum of 800% damage, which is very good. Moving into his rare hatchets will have a 75% chance to attack up to 4 different targets, so it can't attack the same target twice. But this would have the similar ability of attacking all enemies in the same row, which is Epic Bow does, but this can attack enemies within 1 to 2 rows, so they don't all have to be in 1 row, which is a really great substitute. Arguably one of his more prized gears is his rare bow, which has a 75% chance to injure targets for 150% chance. If you combine this with his rare bracers, where he can attack twice, this would do 300% injure and do a whole bunch of damage as well, which is great for getting down stronger bosses, as generally if his rare bracers go off, each turn you'll be injuring for 300%, which over time adds up. His legendary bow is a good option, but generally, as it only procs 50% of the time, I wouldn't recommend it. And the other gear I'd recommend, which I use most often, is his epic bow, which has a 75% chance to attack all enemies within 1 zone, inflicting 125% damage. As always, use his strongest armor, as armors don't have any abilities. And then he has 4 great common ring items. Depending on how you use Saarvin, this will decide which you want to use. His epic is a great option as you get it up. I'm assuming probably at level 4. It has an 80% chance for Saarvin to be able to attack twice on the same target, which is very good, thinking about all the different gear he has and how versatile it will be. Notice that when it says it will be attacked at the same target twice, it doesn't account for these different ability items. The double attack would only go on for his weapon damage, so keep that in mind. If you want to increase chance for critical hit, this is a great choice. 75% chance to have 35% chance of critical damage, so that'll be a natty 20, which does extra damage. It's a great option if you use his rare quiver hides, as it attacks multiple enemies, so you have a greater percent chance to get in the crit within there. So even though it does 50, if you have that proc as well, it'll have a greater percent chance to do the crit and more damage. And it's also great if you're using this as well as you attack multiple enemies. His rare is a good option, good solid increase of 50% chance for his attack. Giving him higher attack gives him a greater ability to increase his max amount of damage, which you can see with this setup is 1782. Or one of my personal favorites is also the common in this set, which has a 50% chance to gain 50% damage. This is a great option combined with his common hood, as the common hood then under this would be inflicting, assuming 175% damage per shot, which is massive. So this is a Saarvin guide. Hope you enjoyed. Go out there, defend Waterdeep, my friends.